Welcome. You are listening to the Louis Minor Show. Today is January 14th, 2023. We have a lot to get to today, including our first guest. And let's get started. So on January 10th, the 88th legislature for the state of Texas convened, swearing in all House representatives and senators. So in another show, we'll go into all the bills that have been filed, bills that we're watching that'll affect us here back at home. And so we'll just dedicate a whole show to that. Also, I was in training all week at Texas A&M with county judges and commissioners from all over the state. So that was interesting, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But first, let's go over the agenda for the next Bell County Commissioners meeting. It'll be on January 17th. That is going to be on a Tuesday because of Martin Luther King Day on Monday. So celebrate, get involved. It's a day of action. There'll be a lot of things to do in the community, so I encourage you to get out there. So the routine agenda items, we have, invocation, pledge of allegiance, consent agenda items. Now, I know the county is working on the agenda process. If you ever look at the City of Killeen's agenda or any other, Belton Temple, their agendas are very user-friendly. You can click on the agenda items. It'll bring up supporting documents, anything that those members are going to be voting on. The Commissioner's Court is not like that. So they expect you to do an open records request if you actually want any of the supporting documents. And hopefully that'll be something that we'll be able to change later on in the process. I know it's in the works now, but consent agenda items. You got the minutes, then you have personnel amendments, and then claims, accounts payable, restitution, and juror pay. I'm assuming if it's on there, it's an open record, so people will be able to pull that information out if they want to see it. Also on the consent agenda, considering authorizing the county judge to enter into an agreement with Court Financial Services for the installation and service of one ATM machine at the Bell County Justice Center. Consider authorizing the purchase of a fluid watercraft patrol 21 rigid inflatable boat through the Purchasing Cooperative GSA under contract number 47 QMCA 1D006 for the Sheriff's Department for a total of $86,219.70. Consider transferring one 2017 GMC Terrain VIN number from the Sheriff's Department to the IT Department. Consider ratifying the purchase of two 2023 Ram 2500 ProMaster cargo vans from Georgetown Mackay Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ltd. One van for the Facility Services Department at a cost of $57,329, and one for the Elections Department at a cost of $52,277, for a total cost of $109,619 with the appropriation budget amendment. Now on that one, I may have some questions on. It increased that budget line item for those two at a combined $32,000. But we'll talk about that on Tuesday. Consider approval of an estimate 4761 to purchase and install fiber optics from JC Communication utilizing an existing bid award not to exceed the amount of $53,000 to provide for fiber network services to the museum storage building. Appropriated budget amendment. Consider approval on estimate 4805 to purchase and install fiber optics for JC Communication utilizing an existing bid award for not to exceed $44,000 to provide fiber network services to the diversion facility with an appropriate budget amendment. Consider the approval of Amendment 6 to MRB Group for the jail expansion, reducing the costs allocated for services associated with the diversion center scope of work from $264,000 to $148,870. Now that's all of the consent agenda items. Now we have consider authorizing the county judge to enter into an amended interlocal agreement with the Killeen Temple Metropolitan Planning Organization to develop and provide a thoroughfare plan. Consider a resolution to support Commissioner Bill Schuman seeking a seat on the Public Power Pool Board of Directors for a 2-term ending 31st December 2024. Then the county engineer consider modifying the Bell County Subdivision Regulations, Section 307, drainage to require concrete or corrugated metal drainage pipes under the roadway. Consider the request for a right-of-way abandonment off of Cliff Lane located in Cliff Estates, Bell County, Precinct 3. Request a variance for a building setback line, Shore Section 1, Lot 126, 127, and 163, City of Belton, ETJ, Bell County, Precinct 1. Very exciting stuff, I know, but that's business. That's the business of the government, of the county. So that is the morning's meeting, our regular scheduled agenda. Now for our workshop, which will be in the afternoon, beginning roughly about 1:30. And right after the meetings, they always go into a staff briefings. So the staff, if they have any urgent needs or requests, that's the time that they bring those up. So we'll skip over that because it's really, they have capital improvement updates. There's a Salado Annex, I believe it's pretty much done. Museum Archives building that is being bid out to work on. Obviously, the jail expansion project and diversion center are underway. Then we have Killeen Annex that we'll be discussing as well. So in the afternoon workshop, we have discuss court reporter positions. One of the district judges has that on the agenda. Discuss amending 2023 legislative priorities, adding general referendum item Confederate statue relocation, and then discuss Bell County broadband RFI. And that'll be everything for Tuesday. Also locally, the filing period for city elections will begin January 18th, Wednesday. So, at least in the city of Killeen, city where I live, all the district positions will be open. So that'll be District 1, 2, 3, and 4 will be eligible for filing for election. So it'll be interesting to see who files, Normally, a lot of people file. There's no filing fee, so there's no cost to file like on the partisan level for county and above. There's filing fees that you have to pay to get your name on the ballot, or you could do signature in lieu of that. So that'll be something. Once the filing period ends, we can, you know, look at the resumes of everyone that filed and go from there. So I want to go over my training that I was mentioned earlier. I went to Texas A&M and College Station for the new elected officials, county judge, county commissioners training conference. So it was elected officials from all over the state, and it really opened my eyes to a lot of things. So, there's a lot of good people. I First of all, I have the utmost respect for anyone. It doesn't matter what party that serves, that becomes a candidate, that gets out there and gets enough votes to win. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of dedication. So, yeah, I mean, utmost respect for. It doesn't matter what party. I know that you're committed to serving. I know that you want to make your community better than the way it was before you got elected. So that I support. So now, just thinking politically, I'm a progressive Democrat. I want more Democrats in office. I think we have a better platform, a better way forward for the working class people, for everyday people, for business. Surprisingly, yes, I think that. So I was shocked by a couple of things. Well, not shocked, but first of all, I'm in Bell County. I'm going to promote my county. We're the 15th largest county in the state. There's 254 counties in the state of Texas. But you really don't think about it until you start meeting people like this from all over the state, from counties with less than 50,000, with counties less than 10,000, with counties less than 5,000. So it really opened my eye of, how big we are. And that's a good thing, growing county, large county, urban counties. Those are great things for us. So we need to continue to, be that beacon, be the place that people want to move to, people want to work, and people want to play in. So that'll be our goal, the Commissioner's Court goal, to continue that growth and continue to be the place people want to move to. But it also showed me how conservative, how Republican our state is. And, we went to a lot of events, a lot of training, but at some of the, mixers, after hours, all of those events. One night I was at a dinner and I was talking with some, it's not hard to pick out the Democrats in events like this. We're usually people of color, Hispanics, Indian, Asian, Black. So yeah, it's not hard to pick those out. But yeah, so I was talking to a group of guys, having drinks, talking politics, and I brought up the Confederate statue, and here in the county that I'm trying to move, and one of the guys looked at me and said, "Why do you want to erase our history?" And I told him that might be good history for you to remember and to honor. But for people of color, for the brown and black people, that wasn't a very good time in history. And that's not something that we want to honor, and or something that we want to, remember and have a daily reminder every time we see that. So yeah, it might be great history for you and your relatives, your family, but not for me, not for my constituents. So that's why it was important to me. But yeah, back to the Republican Democratic aspect. So if the Democratic Party ever plans on winning here statewide, we have to do one of two things. We either have to really focus on getting out into the rural parts of the county, or I'm sorry, the state, and growing that base, or abandoning it and just go all in on the cities. There's enough votes in the cities to win. We need to do a better job at getting those out. Here in Killeen, the most democratic city we have in the county, we probably could win countywide if we get more people out to vote, just in Killeen. So it's incumbent upon me to work harder, get more people registered to vote, get more people voting. And that's my commitment, to get more people voting, utilizing that muscle, letting them realize their power. They don't know how powerful they are and how their voice can affect their government. So it's going to be my responsibility to make sure that they know that. So to me, at least on the statewide level, that's what we're going to have to do. I think the county party or the state party really needs to make that determination. Are you going to try and pick up a couple of counties way out in the middle of nowhere and spend resources out there? Or are you just going to double down into cities? Now, yeah, I don't think it's good politically to say you're going to abandon the rural areas of the county, at least for voting purposes, and just focus in on the cities. But if you want to win, if you plan on winning, I think that's what you're going to have to do. I don't know. We'll see. There's always been outreach for rural counties, including them more and more in the Democratic Party. I like that Beto went to all 254 counties twice, both times that he ran for governor and for senator, but that didn't get him over the finish line. We didn't pick up any statewide positions. So doing that, is that going to get us over that finish line that we need to? I don't know. But it's definitely a conversation that I think needs to happen. And I don't think it's something that a lot of operatives in the county, county parties really talk about. Everyone's worried about their own county. That's not something that we really spoke about here in Bell County. What is our plan for going forward? So I don't know, maybe we'll start having those conversations, because, just seeing, how conservative the rest of Texas is, really the rural parts of Texas. And, a lot of them that I spoke to said their dads were Democrats, their parents were Democrats, that they might have one Democrat in their county, or some of the Republicans are really Democrats, but they can't win on the Democratic ticket, so they run as a Republican. So yeah, that's my thoughts on that. There's a lot of good training. I met a lot of good people, and we'll keep on doing the hard work. The people, we got to deliver for the people, and to me, that's promoting the Democratic platform, our ideas, letting people know why it matters, and to get to work. That'll be a good segue for our guest. Okay, so now I want to introduce our guest. She's very near and dear to my heart, Miss Shirley Fleming of Killeen, Texas. She was the first Black female Mayor Pro-Tem in the city of Killeen ever. She served 6 years on the Killeen City Council, been heavily involved in Democratic politics here in Bell County. She was my campaign manager, and above all, she's my friend. So, welcome, Shirley, to the show.
Yes, Mr. Minor, thank you so very much for allowing me to be a guest on your show this morning. I am very honored to be here, and I also feel like that you're a great friend of mine. As your campaign manager, we worked very well together. It was an absolute honor to be your campaign manager.
Well, what I like to tell everyone now is I graduated from the Shirley Fleming School of Politics. But no, we've been in this battle for over a decade together, to increase Democratic representation here in Killeen and in the county, and we've been doing that. But I want people to get to know you, get to know why you do what you do. So I guess just where did you grow up, Shirley?
Well, Mr. Minor, I grew up in a small town called Bardstown, Bardstown. It's a very historical town in Kentucky, near Lexington, and Louisville, Kentucky. I have a very large family there. I was married, had 6 children.
Do you remember being political when you were growing up? Do you remember, talking about the, presidents or campaigns or even local issues when you were growing up?
Actually, a small bit. My mother was, she was very active in the community. She had a small antique business in Killeen. I'm sorry, not Killeen, in Kentucky. And she taught us to do the right thing, to live right, and to also honor our mother and our father and be active in the community. And we were active in the community. And I grew up and I started politics at 18 years old.
So do you remember your first time voting?
Yes, I do. And it was amazing. I cannot believe it was just overwhelming. In a small town like Bardstown, very historical. And back there in those days, you were like being a Black person and having Ku Klux Klan there. We were like secondhand citizens, as you know, in those days. We were like, you could imagine Black citizens there. And in order to get out and vote, it was a big thing for us.
So was it a family affair? Like, did your mom, dad, everyone that was old enough to go? Everyone went?
Well, everyone that was old enough to go vote, which was my sisters and brothers, they all went. And my mother as well. And in Bardstown, we have a very large family. The Lydians, the Reeds, everyone.
So
It's so sad.
whenever you went to vote, you know, because they said there was a change in the South, so that you know the black community used to vote Republican way back a long time ago, and
Yes,
then they
yes.
switched over to Democrat. So whenever you first voted, did you vote Republican or did you vote Democrat?
I voted when I first voted, Mr. Minor. I voted Republican. I was a Republican at first. I did not even realize the significance of the two parties at that time. We were told then, and you know how it is, your
Hmm.
environment, you were told vote Republican, not knowing what I was doing, not knowing what I was doing back there. I did vote Republican.
Well,
Later,
I think the parties were different way back then.
in actuality, I think they were, but not knowing different parties and what they stood for, I didn't know the difference then, but
Yeah,
now I do.
and that's what I've said before. You know, I voted Republican too. Whenever I first started voting, it was mainly because you know I worked for the sheriff at the time, and I wanted to you know support my job. He gave me a job, so I voted for him. I didn't know the difference of what Republican and Democrat meant until I joined the military and moved away. So so you grew up in Kentucky. You
Married,
married. You remember voting.
I remember
What brought
voting.
you to Texas?
Well, in actuality, I will back up a small bit, Mr. Minor, for like a couple of
Okay.
minutes. I was very active in the community in Kentucky. I served as precinct chair for 6 counties. I
Okay.
had two workers under me. I was also the assistant director of the Community Action Program. And I served under Mr. Brannon, who was my director. And I would travel to DC all over. And I was very active in the community. And I served there. They also did a story on me from Kentucky, the paper did. So
Yeah.
from there, I will travel on down the road. I was divorced. I moved to Texas. I remarried a military. Military brought me to Texas.
So
There I had my,
whenever you remarried, was your husband already in the military?
he was already in the military, yes.
Okay.
And we met, we married and had another child, which gave me 4 boys and 3 girls. Happy family. We're very close family. So after I remarried, I had my 7th child about 3 years later. We traveled to Germany. We went to Germany for 6 years. And then 3 years terms, came back to Killeen and continued my community work. I have a passion for community.
Hmm.
It's in my blood, Mr. Minor.
Well, I definitely want people to realize, you know, and I'll ask this question here in a minute again, but I want people to realize that you know the stuff that you read in the history books, the you know the racism, the things that you know we read about and see in the old black and white, you know, news clips. These are things that many people remember, many people live. You mentioned growing up and voting in Kentucky and the Ku Klux Klan. How was it whenever you joined the military with your husband going to Germany and then coming to Killeen? You know, how was racism that you remember? Like I said, it's not history books. It's you know people are we're still dealing
Yeah,
with it today. But you know
yes.
how do you remember it?
Well, remembering back there, going to Germany was altogether different than United States. Germany was such a close knit family because we were dependent on the military, each other to survive. If something happened, our husband would go to the field. Every family that lived in the quarters, we would get together, help each other out, whether it was black, white, whatever color it was. And
Okay.
Germany was altogether a different world.
Right.
a different world over there. Coming back to the United States, Mr. Minor, it's altogether different. Even the military, when they got out of the military, it's altogether different.
What is your
So, well,
first memory of Killeen whenever you got here that you remember?
my first thing coming here, it was altogether different from where I came from.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I tried, I got involved. I didn't know which direction to go in. I think the first thing I did, I went to Belton, went to Fort Hood, to get a job, which I did get a job. Um, my husband and I sold insurance. I had a couple of businesses here, and we both of us sold insurance. We went to school. We did that to get our license and everything. Then my husband went overseas. He went to work overseas. So there I was left with my children in the community, still doing community work. And
You remember the roughly how big was Killeen whenever you first got to it?
oh my God, it was small. It was much smaller than it is now. I forget the population, what
Mm-hmm.
it was. In 1973, I came here.
Okay.
1973, I came to Killeen, Texas. And it was very small. The people was not that friendly. It was not that friendly of a town. No one seemed to reach out to help each other.
Right.
So there was a lot of prejudice, hidden prejudice. I could see that, which is a lot of small towns, even where I came from. Killeen was no different. Seemed like the city hall, everything was already locked up with even Fort Hood, with jobs, etc. Everyone who had a job would keep that job and they would stay there forever. Did not give other new people coming into the community a chance. So
So how
therefore,
did you get plugged into the community? So you're new here, you got your new family. Obviously, I'm sure the unit that your husband was assigned to. You started making friends with other spouses in the unit. How did you start getting those connections with Killeen?
I met Irene and Joan because they were with the Bell County Democratic Women,
Mm-hmm.
and Rosa Herford. I remember getting involved in the community with them. We were trying to I forget what we were trying to do at that time, Louis. We were setting up um, candidates to vote, to get them registered to vote, to get people registered to vote, to get people going in the right direction, all those things, Louis, that I remember working on. I remember
Well,
getting in.
you skipped over something there. So you went
What
from
was that,
voting
Louis?
you went from voting Republican to now you're doing stuff with the Democratic Party.
I
When did
I
that
was
when did that transition happen?
I was a Democrat when I left Kentucky. I switched over before I came to Texas.
Oh, okay.
Oh yes, I definitely got out of that Republican arena. I switched over before I left. When I started working for the Office of Economic Opportunity, traveling to Washington as a assistant director of the Office of Economic Opportunity, and I networked when I was there. Found out that the party that I was with was not the right party to be in. So I
Right.
did switch over as a Democrat.
And what is your education background? Did you go to school in Kentucky or did you go to
I,
school in Texas?
I went to school in Kentucky, and there I was working. I was working, trying to go to school to finish my education. I did not finish everything until I got here to Texas, and I stopped. I had 6 children. I was going to a college down on 2nd Street. I forget the name of that college, to get my associate degree right before I went to Germany in 77.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, I did not get to complete everything by going to Germany. We went to Germany in 77. So there, when I was in Germany, I continued to go to school and to get my degree. So I did finish school here. I did not walk. I got a GED and I completed all my courses. I continue to go to law school. I continue to take speed reading. I did every course that I could do when I was in Germany to keep my education up. I would take up speed reading. I would do public speaking, and they offer so many opportunities in school in Germany. So I took advantage of that when I was in Germany.
Well, yeah,
So I
no,
did.
I would imagine, being in Germany, I've been deployed before, so you look for things to keep yourself busy.
Absolutely.
So yeah,
So that's what I did.
I definitely remember that. So let's get back to where you were talking about working with Joan and Irene and Rosa Herford. So what made you want to start, looking into local politics?
Because it's in my blood. When I left Kentucky, like I said, I was already into the community. I was a community advocate. And so I needed that. I needed to get back into the community to continue what's in my blood. I'm very passionate about politics, very passionate about politics. And after coming here, trying to get involved again, it was so awesome for me to get back into politics and continue what I was doing in Kentucky.
And how
And
was the Democratic Party whenever you started getting involved here locally?
actually, the Democratic Party, it was, I'm looking for the exact words to use, Louis. Then I didn't realize what was the best thing and what wasn't the best thing.
Right.
You have to get involved in order to know what is good and what is bad.
Mm-hmm.
Back there, you didn't really know, well, what's good and what's bad. You have to get involved, get within the party and find out, are we doing the right thing? Are we electing the correct candidates to move us forward?
Mm-hmm.
Are we doing that? I didn't really realize, coming from another state into Texas, which is a very large state,
Right.
which, Louis, it's just different.
So
And
why?
the politics here are different. The politics here are different.
Yeah. Why did Shirley Fleming decide to run for city council?
Because I felt that I was needed,
Mm-hmm.
that my expertise, with my compassion for citizens, my compassion to make this party a success, to try to make some changes. Changes needs to be done in this community. And there were so many changes I could see that needed to be done. So I stepped up. I put my paperwork in. And I ran for city council at the age of 75, Louis.
And the people agreed that they wanted you because you got elected.
Yes. And prior to that, Mr. Minor, I had name recognition. I was an election judge. I was a precinct chair for years. I was a deputy register. And I had been involved in the through before I even threw my head in the ring to run for council.
Yeah, and that's something that I've said many times before. You've seen it every election cycle. You have people that are interested in running. They come out of the woodworks to run for office. They go to all the meetings at every organization, and then they lose and disappear. So the first thing you think is that this person, it wasn't in their heart. They just wanted to get elected.
And you've got to be committed. Anything that you do, you've got to commit yourself. Long hours, getting up early, knowing that you've got to be at this meeting, knowing that you need to be at these meetings to get the information.
And study.
And you have to research.
Mm-hmm.
You have to research. Being on the council, we would get an agenda. You would have to know what's on that agenda. You would have to research. Go out to these places that's having a problem to know what the questions to ask on the city council. If you was not prepared, you've got to plan and prepare anything. You just can't jump up to the council meeting on a Tuesday and expect to know everything.
Right.
And
Building
I was
building
never
coalitions and inviting people to your
to the
raise
meeting.
to the
Absolutely.
meetings to support what your agenda
Thank you.
is. So going
Lots of
to
phone calls. Lots of phone calls, Mr. Minor. Stayed on
emails,
the phone.
absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, stayed on the phone. I mean, in my office, stayed on the phone, calling constituents, calling people, asking questions, researching. Is this a fit? Edit this, send out emails. Can you edit this? I was sent to some of the other leaders before me, like Rosa Herford, Claudia Brown, a lot of people that was before me, that was here before I was. Arthur Reese, who was my first Democratic chair. I have been under 5 Democratic chairs since I've been here. 5.
Right. Well, you're absolutely right. You get emails, you get phone calls, you get it from constituents, you get it from people saying you're doing the right thing, and you get it from people saying you're doing the wrong thing.
Thank you. Thank you,
so
Mr. Mine. You're
so
absolutely
yeah,
right.
it's definitely interesting getting all those. So let's talk about your 6 years that you had on city council. What were your major accomplishments? How did you get those accomplished? And we'll let you start.
Well, actually, some of the accomplishments that happened while I was on city council, one of the main was the no knock warrant. No knock warrant, impact fees,
And
roads,
explain to the people that don't live in Killeen why did you push for no knock?
because I think that no knock is unfair to the citizens, to everyone. It's not safe.
Right, but I think in the bigger picture, people need to understand that we had a city of Killeen police officer that got killed
Yes, didn't
because
we?
they did a no knock warrant, and
Absolutely.
the individual he's still in jail
Miss
now.
Marvin Guy is still in jail right now
No
because
trial, no trial,
no trial.
still in
He was
jail.
defending his house.
Yeah, he
Those things. That's
exactly.
why we had to go ahead, Mr. Minor.
No, he didn't know who was entering his house. Just like you or myself, if you have a break in and you don't know who it is, you're gonna protect yourself. You're gonna protect your family. Uh,
Right.
so
The
so
citizens of Killeen and the council was, at least I can speak for me. I was sick and tired of this happening to our citizens.
right,
The guy that got shot for no reason at all. So many things that was unfair, not only to him, so many people all over the country. This no knock it was unfair. It's unfair to all of us.
right.
They can
And
break it,
Colleen
go home, get the wrong address, and kill you, and then there's no.
and Colleen was a leader
It
here in the
was a
state of Texas with no knock. Y'all was at
absolutely,
the forefront of banning police from doing no knock warrants. And
absolutely.
the police, they were against it, were they not?
They were definitely against it. They fought us and did not want this to happen. And we made lots of phone calls. I called even Louisville, Kentucky. I called the council people there. I talked to a councilwoman by the name of Mrs. Green. I got information from her. She was willing to fly here from Louisville and explain how they got their no knock across down there. And because how important it was for us to get our no knock done. And
And
she was wanting to come here. And I told the council that night. And there were so many pros and cons. The police didn't want it, but it won over. It won over. We won. We was very happy. And I was so extremely happy that we got that passed.
right, and the citizens and the police are safer for it.
Yes,
And
we all are. It's a safety thing
right,
now. And it was
and I
unsafe for all.
think you just do it out of habit, but really understanding how to build a coalition and how to reach out to people both in the city, outside the city, outside the state. You're willing to do that, so that's part of the Shirley Fleming School of Politics, is learning how to build those coalitions and growing. So you got no knock accomplished. What about impact fees?
Yeah, we got the
Explain to the listeners what are impact fees.
well. Actually, I chaired the petition for impact fees when it was brought up on the agenda to try to knock out the impact fees. I had 6 people working on a petition. I got 900 names of citizens that was against the impact fees. And the impact fees are dealing with citizens who buys new homes, and the contractors are getting over. And we could not allow that to continue. And Mr. Minor, who is a contractor now, he knows what it is when you buy a home and the citizens are left with paying more money than they should.
Right.
And the contractors are getting over, and we could not allow that to continue in Killeen.
Yeah. So what was happening here in the city of Killeen is, um, a developer builds a new subdivision.
Yes.
And the city was paying for getting, bringing the infrastructure, bringing the sewer, the storm, and the water to those subdivisions. So assessing impact fees allowed for the city, allowed for that subdivision to pay for those connections instead of the citizens, the taxpayers, doing it.
And it would be,
yeah, obviously the developers, they were opposed to that because for many years the city paid that, and you fought hard. It was the right thing to do, and now everywhere in Bell County, all the other cities have some form of impact fees. So y'all started a good trend here in the county.
yeah, you explained it very well being a contractor, Mr. Minor. You're absolutely correct. And I do have 900 signatures of citizens that did sign that impact fee petition. And I'm very happy that I was a part of that. And it's also we were a part of getting Gilmer Street.
Right.
We worked for hours and hours on phone calls trying to get that done. Mr. Johnson and I, who is on the council, he is also a judge presently.
Correct.
And they did approve Gilmer. The roads on Gilmer Street was absolutely horrible. So we finally got that done before I left on council. That was another accomplishment that I did. And also, there are so many things, working with the homeless.
Right.
I had
downtown.
Yes. I had the downtown business meeting once a month due to Mr. Minor, Mr. Dick Young. Once a month, we would meet with the constituents, the business people, to try to help and decide how we could make downtown a much better place for the constituents in Killeen. And when the COVID came, we had to stop the meeting, but we were making very much success down there, weren't we, Louis?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, we were moving and shaking and getting things done, helping with the homeless, getting the parking lot where you wouldn't have to park your car and get a ticket. We had the police walking downtown, making sure that the homeless wasn't doing, I'm not going to say their business in the alleys and in front of the businesses downtown. But our meetings was a great success once a month. And so like I say, now that they are working on trying to get downtown developed again.
Right.
We're hoping that.
Well, there's definitely some great progress happening in downtown.
Absolutely.
And I would say it started because of all the 6 years you put into getting something going downtown.
Thank you. Thank you.
But so, something that, people are hearing this, they're hearing all this work that you do, that the community, we do, that's involved, but we do it because we like doing it, but
we love it.
We do it also because we're having fun doing it. We're helping people. We're making friends in the community, and we enjoy it. It's fun.
And giving them a quality of life that they have never had before.
Right.
Some of the people that we have also getting homes down, getting them a place to live. We have some constituents call Mr. Minor and myself. They are sleeping outside. They're homeless, and we are instrumental in trying and getting them a place to live, food on the table, etc. And so I still get calls now. Mr. Minor and I, we still get calls now from citizens. And I'm not even on the council, but they call me, Miss Fleming, thank you. I need your help. I'm like, I'm not the city council lady anymore. No, but I know you can get it done.
Right.
And I feel so grateful that they're still calling us for help. I just got called the other day about a lady having problems with her daughter who's missing. And that's a long story, which I'm not going to go into it now.
Yeah. So
they're still calling me.
So after your time in city council, then the next thing that we'll kind of catch up. You were so instrumental, one of the leaders in the decriminalization of marijuana efforts here in Killeen and in Harker Heights. Why did you want? I've talked about marijuana a couple of times on the show already. Why did you want to get involved in decriminalization here locally?
Well, I was very honored to be on the team with Mr. Minor, Julie Oliver, Mike, and Ben. And I was sick and tired of our black, brown, and poor white kids getting picked up for low-level marijuana, going to jail. Their lives have been ruined. Their lives are going to continue to be ruined. They have families. That is absolutely unreal for the police to stop them with no probable cause.
Mm-hmm.
Just because they think they have marijuana, just because they're black, just because they feel like they want to do this. This is what is happening in Killeen, and it's still happening. Right. I wanted to get involved with Mr. Minor and Julie and ground game because it's the right thing to do to help our constituents who are getting locked up for no reason, for unfair treatments.
Well, we've definitely been on a journey with the decrim effort, getting it on the ballot, voting on it. And now Bell County is suing the city of Killeen. We have Harker Heights that has just completely disregarded any of the people's will. So we're still, dealing with the marijuana issue, even though, almost 70% of the voters in Killeen voted for it and 64% in Harker Heights voted for it. So yeah, this story's not over. It's probably going to be going all year long with the decriminalization. So yeah, we'll see about that. But one thing that you and I both know is we're going to be on the right side of history on this.
Thank you.
And the people are going to thank us. Even the people that do not agree with us, I guarantee you in a couple of years, they're going to be saying, you know what, you were right. Y'all did the right thing.
We are trying to do the right thing. And anyone listen to this interview, Mr. Minor and I, please get on the bandwagon. Help us to go forward on this movement. We are on a movement that needs everyone's support. We've got to protect our citizens. Right now, they are still stopping black, brown, poor whites for marijuana.
Right.
So, and it's nothing we can do right now.
So where do you think, I was talking about this earlier in the show, the direction of the Democratic Party. I was talking more on a state level, but locally, where do you think the Democratic Party is going? What do you see, the future for Bell County Democrats?
Oh, that's a hard question, Mr. Minor. What I want to see is more closeness. I want to see more of us getting together to help out, to work. All these organizations that are Democrats, we all need to get together to work on every issue that we have. Try to get along more We are a strong organization. And all the Democrats that are listening now, please, we need your help. We need local to come and help us locally. All the local organizations get together with us on this decree.
Well,
We need your help.
that's one thing that I was talking about earlier is how am
Yes,
I going to tell all of our fellow Democrats that don't vote, you know, they just don't know the power that they possess.
absolutely. Absolutely.
They are powerful, but they're not using that power.
And
And
Louis and I both are deputy registers. If you're out there listening and you're not registered to vote, just call us up. We will come register you anywhere. We need your voting. A vote is the most powerful thing you can do. We've got to vote these people out of office that are not moving forward. We've got to get good candidates to run in these positions here locally. That's how the power and the movement starts. With your vote, your help, and your voice. We need your voice and your vote. Please come and help us.
right. And it's so important candidate selection, having candidates challenge all these incumbents that are not getting challenged. I was talking to a newly elected county commissioner from Fort Bend County. That's by Harris County, Houston, and he was telling me, he's like, Louis, in 2018 we only had a handful of Democrats countywide on the ballot,
Mm-hmm.
and we ran the board. If we would have had more people on the, challenging those incumbents that went unopposed, they would have won those seats too. But no one ran against them. So that's why, the days of our local elected leaders here, Republican, to run unopposed, those days are coming to an end.
Absolutely.
It's my mission. It's our mission to end those days of them being unopposed.
Absolutely.
Because
Mr.
we don't
Minor.
want to miss that opportunity. That we don't know what this election is going to hold. What if another Barack Obama runs and excites our base and gets people excited to go out there and vote. We need to have people on the ballot that's going to benefit from having a very charismatic, popular leader on the top of the ticket, kind of like what Beto did. He was very charismatic. A lot of people liked him, and we did win some races statewide in 2018. But those are the things that I'm going to work for, and I know you're going to be there with me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We're on the right path. We're on the road to success. In order for the Democratic Party to be a very strong party, we need all of you Democrats that are listening to this podcast. Please reach out to us. We need you to step up and be a candidate. We will help you. If you feel like that you need help, we will always be there for you. That's what we do. We help each other.
Yeah.
So just
So
reach out to us.
and it doesn't matter, where you're listening. If you're in another city, another state, if you're interested in speaking with us, reach out. I'll definitely, I'm sure Shirley will love to give a good motivational speech to anyone that's interested in running for politics. If you're on the Democratic ticket, if you're running for the right reason. So with that, Shirley, I'm going to give you the last words. What would you like to let people know? What is your parting words of wisdom, at least for this episode?
Mr. Minor, thank you. First, I would like to thank you for allowing me to be on your show and to speak out. I love to talk. I love to help. I love my constituents. I always have since I've been old enough to know what it is to help people. It's in my blood. What I want to say is to everyone that's listening, please We need your help. I belong to 6 organizations here in Bell County and state party, Bell County Coalition of Black Democrats. I'm the president. I'm the president of Texas Save Our Youth. It's kids that have been taken and traded and sold. They're making billions of dollars taking our children, young men. NAACP is here to help out. Mr. Minor is also part of the organizations that I'm with. Reach out to either one of us. We need your help. We're on a movement now with ground game. Help us to move this. Help us to help our citizens, to help you. We're there for you. Thank you so very much, Mr. Minor. Thank you for listening, and we'll be in touch.
Well, thank you, Shirley. And, I just want to let the listeners know that, we're very good friends.
Thank you.
You're normally the first person I call in the morning. We talk politics day and night. We spend hours on the phone just talking politics. So, I mean, this is just a little glimpse of how our conversations go. But yeah, no, you're very influential. You may not know it, or you might be, humble or modest about it, but you're very influential here locally. Everyone respects you. Everyone knows you. So yeah, you're going to have a long lasting effect on this community for the better. And the citizens that don't know it will realize it one day when they're not getting arrested for marijuana, simple marijuana possession. They're not having police, kick in their door unannounced. So you've been doing great things in the community. So thank you for that. And we will talk to you next week.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Commissioner.
All right.
Appreciate it. Thank you, dear. Have a very blessed day, and everyone else. Bye-bye.